92.3 K-Rock.
Here we are with Coheed Cambria. Thank you for coming up and welcome, and thank you for playing our show. First, good.
Thank you for having me.
For the uninitiated, can you kind of give people the Coheed Cambria concept?
Well, every record actually plays a chapter in a story I'm working on called the Amory Wars. The band's first album, we see the two main characters, Coheed and Cambria, come to their demise, and the remaining albums, In Keeping Secrets and The Good Apollo 2, are actually about their son's quest for vendetta. So, and that's pretty much it.
Now, why are the chapters of the story out of sequence? Is that like a Lucas kind of nod, or?
Well, Coheed and Cambria passed in the first album, and that happens to be the second story. And I thought it'd be appropriate framing the saga with them. So with the last album, we revisit the true origins of the two characters, and that's kind of why I did that. So
Now, do you find fans, whether emailing you or whatever, do they try to sort of influence the story in terms of what they want to see?
Not so much, but they do, on the message boards, like Cobalt and Calcium or the band site, there are their interpretations of what the story might be, because these books haven't come out yet,
Right.
Which is interesting and which is cool, because sometimes they're pretty close and sometimes, they come up with their own ideas that work, so.
Because what you've kind of fused here are the two most sort of vocal audiences, like, comic book fans and kind of the quote-unquote indie rock fans, and they're all very vocal and very opinionated about what they want and what they like.
Yeah, I just think it's a cool way. I know certainly for myself, when I was younger, I always wanted more from my artists, and this is kind of a way for them to have more other than the album. So
Now, okay, so if the story is a capsulated chapter thing, does the music influence the storyline of the comic? Or do you call it a comic, or is it a graphic novel?
It really all depends on whatever. I call it comic book, I call it graphic novel. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Does one influence the other?
Well, honestly, I think the music certainly, because the music comes first. But for me as the lyricist, I understand how each album will begin and end. But usually, what'll happen is his personal experience will kind of dictate the details within those stories. So it's kind of a little bit of both, or a little bit of everything, really. It all just kind of comes together. So.
Yeah, it's an interesting framework, but is it a little bit limiting? You kind of have to. Do you feel like you have to write within the Coheed Cambria universe? For example, if you wanted to write a song outside of that about today's political climate, would you be able to do it, or would you have to do it for, for a side project?
There's certainly parallels that you can visit. With this last record, again, another very good example. I understood how the story was going to end, but I didn't know the trials that this band was going to go through. And when that stuff happened, those things certainly influenced the subject, and I found a parallel between those trials and what these characters had to go through, and in a sense fed the fiction. So.
Now, were all of you guys sort of comic obsessed, or was it just
No?
Yeah, that's a big misconception of that all of us are like comic book fans or role playing guys. Really, I think I'm the only. Well, Mike, you
I got
collect
pretty
a little
healthy
bit.
comic book collection when I was younger.
So-
I'm into it.
So yeah, but not everybody.
So, all right, so you have the story in the print realm and of course, in the song, the musical realm. Have you considered taking it further to, say, film or maybe anime or something like that?
Yeah, there's been talk of that. But right now I think my goal is to get them in the graphic novel form or comic book form, before making that step. So.
Have you been to Comic-Con with this?
Oh yeah. I've attended several years now.
See, now, can you describe that? I've always wanted to go just for the spectacle alone, but I hear it's like mad corporate now.
It's huge. There's everything. It's not just comics. It's film. It's toys. It's a lot of fun. It's huge. It's massive. It's you spend a whole weekend and still not cover the whole place.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Has anything changed for you guys since you've gone to a major label? Because you came from indie culture, and is it what you thought it was going to be? Is it?
I haven't.
Not much has really changed. Especially artistically, we pretty much are the same as we've always been. We've always retained our artistic freedom. That was always important to us. But not much has really changed. As far as the sensibility of our writing goes, I guess we're pretty much who we were then, just evolved.
Right.
after doing it for 10 years.
Right on. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this without maybe stepping on toes, but initially I think you guys kind of got brushed with the sort of emo label.
Mm-hmm.
Was that just, did that just sort of correspond to the time where you guys came up, or did you identify with that sort of, for want of a better term, scene at all?
I don't really understand the scene. That's something I always say. I think it was very much a time and place thing. Like, yeah, that word is a time and place thing. And yeah, when we were coming up, I mean, first of all, I don't really understand what aspects make a band emo. I didn't really know like how to classify a band that anyway. But I don't think we really fit in at the time. I think it was a time thing. Yeah. I mean, I have nothing against any labels. There's so many different like subgenres of rock. I just can't keep track of them. But so people want to call us whatever they want. That's fine. But yeah, I think that definitely is a time-related tag.
Right. Well, a friend of mine and I were just talking about that the other day, like the idea of quote-unquote emo, and like it used to be about just, guys writing sort of, for want of a better term, love songs. And, it was like, yeah, you had your sweater and maybe your backpack. Now all of a sudden it's like the quasi-goth kids. What happened?
Who can keep track?
All right, so your album is out tomorrow. Now the full title is?
The full title is Good Apollo on Burning Star 4, Volume 2, No World for Tomorrow. That's the full title. But we're going with just No World for Tomorrow because it hits more. So.
Excellent. Now you guys are going to be out with Clutch and who else?
The Fall of Troy. It's a band off of Equal Vision, the label we used to be on,
Awesome.
or still are affiliated.
Right. Awesome. Well, I mean, as you, I'm sure you know, the fans have been clamoring for this. I'm sure your MySpace, when you put the album, you put the tracks up there last night, I'm sure it was just like crash and everything. And thanks for coming by and hanging with us at 93 K-Rock.
Oh, you got it, brother. Thank you.
Kind of like your backyard since you're from Niagara.
Yes,
right on. All right. All right, finally. The day is here. People have been freaking out. By the way, you still have time to jump on to 923krock.com and watch Coheed Cambria, who are about to play live on our Pal Talk cameras, and you can get on there right now. So help me to say hello to Mike, Claudio, and Travis. Coheed Cambria.
Hey guys.
All right. So welcome.
You got it.
All right. There's a question I wanted to ask you, because there's an internet rumor, and everything on the internet's true, that you have a hip hop project that is yet to see the light of day.
I did at one point in my life have a hip hop project. I did, but it was for fun, and it was actually just something that, I would do just so Travis and I, when we were driving up to Woodstock, to go rehearse, just to, something to laugh at. I will not put out a record doing that.
Are you afraid you'd be castigated by the Coheed fans?
It's just inappropriate.
What is he doing? All right, the album is out tomorrow. Again, help us out with the title, the latest chapter in the Coheed and Cambria saga.
Well, the title is No World for Tomorrow, but the full title is Good Apollo on Burning Star 4, Volume 2, No World for Tomorrow. So.
Excellent. All right, you guys are all tuned up. You're almost all acoustic except for Micro's the electric bass.
Cheer.
This is Coheed and Cambria live on 92.3 K-Rock.
92.3 K-Rock.